Hello my friends and welcome to another First Impressions video. This is the first screen of Darkest Dungeon 2. Darkest Dungeon is about making the most of a bad situation. You are not expected to succeed on your first expedition. Heroes will die, failure will abound. The world will seek to smother your flame. Take heart, do not relent, press forward through the encroaching gloom and face your fears. Redemption at last can be found deep within the icy depths of the Darkest Dungeon. Now, I have a lot to say about that intro, but first I'm going to smother the music. If I can. Is it in here? Nope. Huh. Oh, you have to press escape. Okay, that's fine. Right, okay. So, now that the music is no longer drowning me out, I have a lot to say about the RNG, actually. Or about the game sort of immediately toning down your expectations for finishing the game without losing anybody. But to do this, I'm gonna have to talk about the first game. But let's watch the intro first, and then we'll go from there. Okay, it's not actually going anywhere.
Ruin has found you at last. My protege, my friend. Our calculations were correct. The ephemeral equation is unbalanced. The Earth spins on a strange and terrifying new axis. And everywhere, unbridled consequence. The world is a wasteland of failures past. And yet, you must ride out into it, unafraid. Take this. It is hope, the very last of it. It is yours now. You were bold once. Be bold once more. Free yourself from this suffocating stillness. Fix your gaze on the horizon. And face the fearsome truth of the Darkest Dungeon.
Alright. Looks like an icy dungeon. I think Diablo 4 also starts with like an ice dungeon, so maybe it's the in thing now. The Darkest Norway.
Your sanctum, adrift in this bituminous nightmare.
Wow, bituminous. Someone dug that out of the Old English Dictionary. Okay.
I know failure well. I glimpsed it lurking at the ragged edges of your mind. I watched its venom spread through the veins of the world. And I trembled at its terrible reverberations. The crossroads. A place between places.
Okay. Interesting mission select screen. Oh, it's the guy who looks like he has escaped from Warhammer. Right. Anyway, back to my story before we get into this. As you all know, watching this channel, I am a resolute player and enjoyer of hard turn-based games. So it will not surprise anybody to know that I had the first Darkest Dungeon and played it quite a lot. But I came to, and while I really enjoyed it for a solid while, I came to a mission where I got absolutely shreked and lost all my guys. And I thought, but the way I lost them was just like, my characters just kept on missing and missing and missing and missing, and the enemy kept on critting and critting and critting and critting, and I was like, this just like does not seem right, or it's like the worst luck streak ever. But it got that part of my mind that some of you guys are so familiar with, the testing part of me. It got me interested in whether that truly was just a ridiculous streak of bad luck. So I played the mission again, and at the same battle in the same place, I had the same horrendous bad luck. So then what I did was, at the beginning of the mission, I deliberately killed off... I brought a rubbish character with me, and I deliberately got them killed. And then when I got to that battle where I was repeatedly having the horrendous luck that got me killed, suddenly it was really easy, and the luck seemed to be normal. Now, Darkest Dungeon 1 and now Darkest Dungeon 2 seems to have the same warning at the beginning that, you will lose people. Now, I came to the conclusion that Darkest Dungeon 1 had what is known as anti-karmic dice, or anti-karmic RNG. Basically, this has been in a few games, by the way. It's not uncommon that developers do this and just say that it's not there. But it can be proven with testing. Homeworld, this would be really funny, but Homeworld 2, I think it was the first game that came a cropper because of anti-karmic RNG. In a weird way. Because Homeworld 2 didn't have RNG, but they did it such that it would balance the game based on how well you were doing. And so, if you completed the first 2 or 3 missions without losing any ships, the 4th mission would be literally impossible. It would just drown you in enemies. There was no way to beat it. And they actually had to admit that they'd put this adaptive balance in, and they had to patch it. They had to patch it out, or greatly tone it down, because people were playing, a lot of sort of average gamers, or maybe slightly above average. I mean, I'm not saying like I was a master strategist back then in the Homeworld 2 days. Played the first few missions perfectly without losing any ships, and then got to the 4th mission, I think it was the 4th mission, and the game was just completely impossible. You just could not progress, you just got wrecked. And so, moving on to Darkest Dungeon, the original game, I came to the conclusion that it had anti-karmic dice. If you played too well, too cleanly, too efficiently, for too long, then you would come to a battle, not a map, but a specific battle. It seemed to be a specific battle. You'd come to a specific battle, and the RNG in that battle would be incredibly weighted against you to ensure that you lost characters. And the RNG would remain horrendously weighted against you until you lost somebody, and then it would return to normal, as a way of forcing people to lose characters. And I hate that in a game. I truly... So I hope it's not in this game as it was in the first game, because I really enjoyed the first game up until the point that I did some vigorous testing on one of the battles and realised that there was anti-karmic dice in it. And I hope that they're not using the same tricks in this game to Darkest Dungeon's really hard. Everybody loses characters in Darkest Dungeon because it's a really hard game. But actually, it's a lie. It forces the issue, but not not in a way that's easily tested. It forces it in a particular battle towards the end of a particular mission, so that it makes it a lot less likely that someone is going to go, because I don't think you could save during missions in Darkest Dungeon. It made it a lot less likely that someone would go back and try it again to repeatedly test it over and over and over to come to a robust conclusion. But it's something that I did. So, yeah. It's, I hope that's not the case here. But we'll see. The game certainly looks very pretty. Bolster. Okay.
Pride. More devastating than the horrors of 100 campaigns.
Okay. This dude, I think, needs to be at the front. I'm going to presume that this is the front and this is the rear. It could be the other way around, though, actually. This is where I found out that I've ordered my characters in the wrong order. Still, you can switch them around in battle, so I guess it's not really a problem.
Onward. And let us hope enough yet remains of the world.
The furthest hero to the right begins at the front of combat. Okay, I got that right. Okay, we're just driving forward. Huh. So this is sort of like the village, but now it's a stagecoach.
You see, even your valley is not immune to the spreading stain.
This doesn't reposition him, does it? light damage. Does that even work on the undead? Bleed damage definitely won't work on the undead. Chunky boy. Well, do it then. Or does this move not end my turn? I have to select a target. Self and target, okay. Okay. Just prevent damage by doing this. What's that? That's a move that only works on self, I guess. Out of position. Only works in the rear area. Okay.
Cut down these nightmares and blaze the trail to your redemption.
Minor anchoring charm. Alright, I mean, pretty cool.
Are you shaken?
It's certainly like...
There is so much worse in store.
It's a much nicer looking game than the first game, though in a very similar style. Let's give this to Chunky Boy. Okay, that'll do. A little bit awkward to sort of go to the next area. The Desperate Few. Can I not examine these? This is like 100 light and some rations, I think? And this is like 100 light and a ring. But it doesn't let me actually, or I can't find a way to... highlight over the things.
You can feel it. A change in the air.
This? Oh, you can. Huh. You can actually control it with the arrow keys.
The bulwark of your denial is giving way.
Huh. I didn't even realize you could control the coach with the arrow keys. I mean...
A brilliant conclusion.
Giving this guy every status effect there is.
Incremental, but deadly all the same.
Self. Stress +5. -1 stress. This doesn't work normally, I take it. I'll test it though. Academic view. Hold down Alt. Ah, okay. That's what I was trying to find before. I don't know what his skills are.
Observe the subject carefully, and you will discover its weaknesses.
Well, it's got ranged attack against the whole of my team, so it's not going to be easy to prevent it from doing damage.
agony by accumulation.
Chunky boy, hold! I probably should have killed these first, but it's a bit too late now.
The Fiend's strength dwindles.
Shields up! Do with healing now. Bosh. Self-shield forward 3. Huh, interesting. And it's an attack. Still out of position. Does he need to be on the back row? I'm just testing how the healing works here. This is self only, I think. Gaining a lot of stress here, but anyway, I'm interested to know how this move works. So
There is comfort in company.
Two stress for passing your turn. Condition blocked. You can only heal if the target has less than 50% HP.
The smallest variable can make all the difference. Push on to the inn. Rest and resupply await you.
Okay, use the arrow keys to control the van.
The roaring heart does much for the weary body. Even more, perhaps, for the restless soul.
You have found your fortitude at last. Collect what hope you can and end your expedition here. Okay. Is that it?
Will you press on into uncertainty, or claim what you can?
Okay, I guess we couldn't go any further on this one particular thing.
Try and try again. You will break through this gloaming murk.
Ending early. Okay. At any point, you can end the expedition and collect your candles of hope. During normal expeditions, making it to the next inn is usually worth the effort because it will reward significant additional candles. How do I know? The Altar of Hope. You spend those candles to unlock new classes, items, pets, and more. For this first visit, you must visit the working fields. Wow, this looks like the old map from number 1.
To recall a thing is to make it real once more.
All right. So I can just buy stuff here, I guess?
New instruments will help us diagnose the world's affliction and overcome it. A drop of sanity in a sea of madness. A welcome advancement in the science of survival.
Stagecoach items. Essentially trinkets for your stagecoach and provide valuable powers and bonuses.
Spare a thought for tools of iron. Such implements will serve us well.
Okay. Can only equip these trinkets at the inn.
You must face your failures, or be consumed by them. You have cowered in
Okay,
your
wow,
crumbling
this is
denial
very stylized.
long enough.
Okay, anyway, I think that's enough for first impressions. The game essentially plays very much like the first game, which is great, and it looks great. So the only question is, does it have the same trickery in it like the first game? Where you're going to be playing along, doing really well, you know, playing really strategically, and then suddenly you'll find that one of the last battles in a mission is just impossible because you keep missing all the time, you keep on getting crit, and then you lose a few characters and the game becomes really easy again, and you're like, huh. Because honestly, that kills a game for me. It kills it dead. Because it just means that essentially, if you play badly, the game is going to help you win. And if you play brilliantly, the game is going to force you to lose. So, effectively, you don't matter, right? You it doesn't matter how well you play, or not, or, you know, or how badly you play. The game's just going to smooth out the experience for you. But I personally don't enjoy that. But so far, so good. So, yeah, I mean, if you like the first Darkest Dungeon, you're going to love this, obviously. I would obviously have to play it a lot more to figure out whether similar, you know, forced death trickery is in this game as it was in the first one. I believe the developers have always denied that that there's any trickery in the RNG whatsoever, but from my rigorous testing, I think that there is. And remember, the developers of BattleTech denied that there was a problem with headshots until I submitted a 50 video, you know, proof that showed that headshots were happening twice as often as they should have been happening. And then suddenly they found a problem and fixed it. They were actually running the headshot chance twice. So they believed that there wasn't any RNG problems, but there were. But that's a little bit different because I can see that as an actual. I can see that as an actual accident, right? But I never felt like the RNG manipulation in Darkest Dungeon 1 was an accident. I think it was a very carefully calculated feature of the game to make it difficult, right? And the reason why I think that is because this second game, just like the first one, has that introduction saying, you'll lose characters, you absolutely will lose characters, please keep playing. Don't reload, or don't find a way to back up your game and reload it every time you lose a character. And the reason why I think they're saying that is because if you do constantly reload your game, I'm going to presume that it just saves, right? If you do find a way to reload your game, i.e. by backing it up, for example, backing up the save file, and you actually test it, you may find that you're going to lose that you are destined to lose characters because all of a sudden every hit is a miss, or every attack is starting to miss, and every enemy is suddenly critting you repeatedly and relentlessly. But anyway, those are my thoughts. All in all, seems like a really good game. I just once again, it's got this enforced Ironman. Same as the first game. So, once again, it'd be very hard to prove any theories on it. But, yeah. That's it for my first impressions. Let me know what your thoughts are in the comments. I'm pretty sure that Darkest Dungeon 1 also had enforced Ironman, but, at that time, well, at all times, I had a Windows shadow copy set up, so I could just reset. I could just reset the game back to any point. And when I became curious, I just rolled the game back and played through it again a few times. Because that kind of curiosity, actually, it drives me. It's like a burning... it's a burning curiosity that I have to satisfy sometimes. So, anyway. That is it for this First Impressions. I hope you guys enjoyed it, and I will see you guys in the next video.